Week two. This is week two of the week that was college football history and review, the 1968 college football season. I'm your host, Rashad Mitchell, and this will be week two, the games that were played on September 27, 1969. Let's get into it. Rutgers beat Princeton by a score of 29 to nothing. Celebration of 100th anniversary of college football saw reenactment of 1869 game and host Rutgers alumni represented by class of 1927 quarterback Ozzie Nelson, who starred on TV with wife Harriet and became prototype 1950s dad. There was antique car parade. Black student protesters were booed. When attention finally turned to modern game, the Scarlet Knights quarterback Rich Pellicastro dazzled in 21 to nothing first half with 14 of 19 passes for 164 yards and a touchdown pass. He scored on a keeper sweep. Utilizing pro set offense after 23 years of single wing offensive alignment, Princeton was held to 35 yards in the first half. The bright spot in Tigers' feeble offense was virtual statistical fly spec. Fullback Ellis Moore's 42 yards rushing press box wag suggested Princeton's new attack had set back football 100 years. Number 2, Penn State beat Colorado 27-3. Unbeaten in 21 straight games, Penn State lost halfback Charlie Pittman to injury and scored his first quarter, but picked off 3 passes, 2 by defensive back Neil Smith. Fullback Don Abbey burst 40 yards to score in opening moments of the second quarter, and Mount Nittany Lions were on their way. Before halftime, Lions added kicker Mike Reitz full field goal and fullback Franco Harris' 5-yard touchdown run. The Colorado quarterback Bob Anderson, who had rushed for 163 yards prior week versus Tulsa, was held to only 4 yards on the ground in the second half. After kicker Dave Haney gave Buffalo's 27-yard field goal in the third quarter. Penn State defensive back Paul Johnson answered with a 91-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to insurmountable 24-3 lead. Next, North Carolina State beat Maryland 24-7. Next, Tennessee, the number 19 team in the country, beat number 17 Auburn 45-19. Tennessee turned 3 Auburn turnovers into 21-3 lead by the second quarter. Trailing 24-3 at halftime, Tigers edged back into the game as stellar sophomore quarterback Pat Sullivan learned some bitter lessons before he authored 70 and 34-yard touchdown passes to tailback Tim Courier. When kicker John Riley added his second field goal, Auburn moved back into contention at 24-19 in the fourth quarter. However, with 4:34.5 to go, Volunteers quarterback Bobby Scott pitched 33-yard touchdown to wide receiver Gary Krise. Moments later, Volunteers defensive back Benny Dalton returned his second interception to 1-yard line to set up fullback Kurt Watson's touchdown, and defensive back Ken Priest went 38 yards for an interception for a touchdown. Next, Kentucky upset number 8 Mississippi 10-9 as Ole Miss moved smoothly to 9-0 lead in the second quarter as kicker Jim Poole kicked 24-yard field goal and quarterback Archie Manning brings for 64 yards on a touchdown run. But Wildcats safety Dave Hunter blocked kicker Poole's conversion try at the main score. Kentucky narrowed it to 9-3 on kicker's Bobby Jones' 36-yard field goal as halftime clock expired. Wildcats went 63 yards to winning touchdown in the third quarter with halfback Roger Guyan carrying for 13 yards and catching 14-yard pass to get close. Kentucky quarterback Benny Scruggs raced over from 6-yard line, and after Jones successfully converted kick, the Cats owned 1-point lead. The Rebels blew fourth quarter chances with fumble and interception. The capacity crowd at Stall Field cheered new coach Johnny Ray's victory in his SEC debut. So number 8, Mississippi lost to Kentucky. Georgia Tech beat Baylor 17-10. Purdue, number 16 team in the country, beat number 9 Notre Dame by a score of 28-14. Underrated Purdue coach Jack Mollenkopf won his 10th game in 14 career tries against Notre Dame, and quarterback Mike Phipps became first quarterback ever to lead his team to 3 straight victories over Notre Dame, over Fighting Irish Notre Dame. After Boilermakers defensive back Tim Foley returned punt into Irish territory in the first quarter, Phipps connected with halfback Randy Cooper for a touchdown pass of 37 yards. Phipps also ran for short touchdown and completed 6 important passes in third down situations. Boilermakers halfback Stan Brown tallied on Browns of 3 and 2 yards. Notre Dame felt it had gotten back into it at 14-7 in the second quarter after tailback Dennis Allen contributed 28-yard dash to 78-yard scoring trip to halfback Ed Ziegler's 10-yard touchdown catch. Now, midway through the third quarter, Notre Dame still trailing 14-7, reaching 3rd and 1 at the Purdue 26-yard line, but were pushed back by a penalty and 17-yard loss perpetrated by Boilermakers defensive end Bill McCoy on tackle of Irish quarterback Joe Theismann on a run attempt. Purdue immediately went 9 plays to Phipps' touchdown sneak for an insurmountable 21-7 lead. Next, California upset number 10 Indiana by a score of 17-14. High-powered Indiana, coming off a 58-point performance against Kentucky, looked as though it would enjoy another offensive explosion as Hoosiers jumped to a 14-0 lead on its first 2 series. Irrepressible halfback John Eisenbarger had 96 yards on 26 carries, whipped a 45-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Jay Butcher, and after safety Jay Mathias made 17-yard interception return, 15-yard penalty tacked on. Butcher caught 6-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Harry Gonzo. Butcher's score gave him 23 for his career, to tie him with former Indiana Philadelphia Eagles star Pete Pijos. But something happened to Hoosiers, according to Gonzo. We got fat after we had that 14-point lead, according to Gonzo, after the game. Before first quarter was over, California safety Ken Widerman came up with first of his 2 interceptions and stepped it 18 yards for touchdown that brought the Bears to within 14-7. So Indiana was back on the move to the 15-yard line in the second quarter when Wideman struck again by taking an interception in his end zone. Meanwhile, California was going nowhere, and game had advanced to the beginning of the fourth quarter when Bears kicker Ray Worthing nailed 29-yard field goal after Gonzo had lost fumble. Now Cal won on a single big play. So quarterback Steve Curtis was in for nicked up quarterback Randy Humphries and rolled out to find sub wide receiver Ken Adams behind secondary for a 61-yard touchdown with just less than 10 minutes left. Indiana had no answer. Number 14, UCLA beat Wisconsin by a score of 34-23. The high-powered UCLA stormed to a 21-9 halftime edge and 27-9 13-quarter lead as quarterback Dennis Dummett totaled 209 yards in air and ran for 2 touchdowns. Bruins tailback Greg Jones rushed for 145 yards and 26 carries, scored 3 touchdowns, losing for 17th time in a row. Wisconsin still looked at this defeat as something to build on. The Badgers managed to kick Roger Jagers 3 field goals in the first half. Sophomore fullback Allen Thompson 2 touchdown runs in the second half. When Jones drove into the end zone early in the fourth quarter, it put Bruins ahead 34-15. It seemed to end game try by Wisconsin, which had only tied to show in its last 22 games. The Badgers made neat land-bound 49-yard drive to A-Train Thompson's 9-yard touchdown romp, keyed by sophomore tailback Greg Great Juice Johnson's 17-yard sweep. UCLA wing back George Foreman caught 9 passes for 125 yards from Dummett. Next, Michigan State, number 13 team in the country, beat Southern Methodist 23-15. Quarterback Chuck Hickson broke Doak Walker's SMU total offensive record as Walker looked on as an enthused spectator. The Mustangs built a 15-7 lead by the end of the third quarter on Hickson's second quarter touchdown run. Kicker Vicky Lesser's 48-yard field goal and Hickson's 41-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Gordon Gilder. Michigan State bounced back in the fourth quarter as defensive back Harold Phillips interception set up kicker Gary Boyce's 36-yard field goal and defensive tackle Ron Johnson's fumble recovery launched 65-yard touchdown drive. Joseph fell on another fumble to set up quarterback Bill Triplett's 5-yard touchdown pass to tight end Bruce Kuster as Spartans won going away. And finally, Wyoming. Wyoming beat Air Force by a score of 27-25. Air Force enjoyed a 12-0, 15-3 lead in the second quarter, but two failed extra points would come back to haunt the Falcons of Air Force. Quarterback Gary Baxter fired 3 touchdown passes for Air Force, but active Wyoming defensive linemen Larry Nels and Tony McGee threw him for frequent losses. The Cowboys quarterback Gary Fox ran and passed for touchdowns, and kicker Bob Jacobs' second field goal gave Wyoming its lead for good at 20-18 in the third quarter. So that concludes a look at Week 2, the games that were played on September 27, 1969. So the AP poll is September 29th. Ohio State was number 1, followed by Penn State at number 2. Number 3, Arkansas. 4, Texas. Number 5, Southern California. The rest of the top 10 rounded out as this: 6, Oklahoma. 7, Georgia. 8, Purdue. 9, Missouri. 10, Tennessee. 11, UCLA. 12, Florida. 13, Michigan. Michigan State. 14, 15, Alabama. 16, Louisiana State. Number 17, Stanford. 18, West Virginia. 19, Wyoming. And number 20, Mississippi. That concludes look at the week that was college football history review for the 1969 college football season. Week 2, September 27th, 1969. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Do a video to Smack 2 tomorrow. Until then, talk to you soon.